Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a little bit of a comic book haul video, but I also want to go over why I buy some of the things that I do and talk about the strategy that I take when I'm buying comics. So hopefully this is something that you guys can take and add to your own collections. I'm sure a lot of you do the same kind of thing, but let's just go over this. This is a quick little haul over a couple of things that I've been buying over the last few weeks, and most of these come from, well, actually they come from eBay, they come from WhatNot, and they come from Heritage Auctions. So let's start with, tell you what, let's start with the eBay ones first, and I'll tell you what I ended up getting. We got the Baltimore Comic Con coming up here at the end of October, or near the end of October, and Frank Miller is going to be there again this year, and I have never had a chance to meet him in person and get things signed. Luckily, the one year he was here, my wife was able to go and get some of my key books signed, so I appreciate her doing that for me. But I still want that experience, and there's still other things that I want to get signed. So one of the things I do before we lead up to these conventions, I mean, we all do this. What books do you want to get signed? Autographs cost, it costs money now for every artist out there for the most part. Everybody charges just about. And Frank Miller is one of those big names, and it's a big price tag. And I've already got my tickets ready. I've got a package of 5 tickets to get things signed. I've already kind of gone through some of the things I want to get signed, but like, okay, this may be my last chance to get something signed. And I'm also sitting there going, there are other artists or other people he's collaborated with that I want to get stuff signed by. So one of the things that I realized that I am going to be doing is next summer I'm going to go down to Heroes Con in Charlotte once again. Bill Sienkiewicz is supposed to be back there this year, or next year. And I've got a James Tynion book that I've gotten signed by him that I'm taking down that Bill Sienkiewicz did the cover to. And I'm sitting there going, okay, if Bill Sienkiewicz is there, what do I want to get him to sign? And I realized I need to get an Elektra Assassin #1 signed by Bill Sienkiewicz. And then it kind of just clicked, wait a minute, it's Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz. So I ended up buying, I've got 3 copies that I bought from 2 different sellers online of Elektra #1. And this again, here's my tip right here. Guys, you're buying a book. I intend to probably get this graded by CBCS at some point after Bill Sienkiewicz signs it, if I can get Frank Miller to sign it. I need the most perfect copy I can find. You can't just buy one copy, even if it says near mint. What's the greatest expectation you can have on a near mint? That it might grade out to about 9.4. I don't want that. I want a 9.8. And so I ended up buying multiple copies, and I'm glad I did. The first 2, well, they're really nice. There's a few ticks on that back and if you remember, the back has a gray border, and it kind of really picks up defects like rubs and scratches pretty easily. But the 3rd copy from the second seller that I bought just 1 copy of from him was really nice, and I probably should have marked which one that is here. But that, I'll be able to figure it out. But so one of these is going to go with me to Baltimore to get signed by Frank Miller, and then I'll take it, wrap it up, we'll take it down to Charlotte in June next year, and we'll see if we can get Bill Sienkiewicz to sign it too, because that's something I want for my PC. So those are those 3. Now, the big book that I ended up picking up from eBay recently, and it was a lark. I just happened to be sitting there one day, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know why it even popped in my mind. I guess I was thinking about Heroes Con from last year. And one of the books that I was looking for last summer, and I found it on the last day of Heroes Con in Charlotte, was New Teen Titans. I keep doing that. Why do I keep doing that? Maybe it's because we were just talking about Bill Sienkiewicz. New Teen Titans #2, the first appearance of Deathstroke. And I just recently got back my original copy to that from CGC. I think it was a 7.0. And it deserved it. It definitely was a reader copy from the day, and I just kind of wanted that graded, and they actually worked on the book too. It was one of my last orders that I had them work on. And no intention of selling that. It was a PC thing. That was a want on that one. But of course, that lit the fire. I wanted to get a much better copy of that. And when I was at HeroesCon last year, the last day was the only day that I really got the chance to look through the bins and the walls and everything. And I found one dealer. Actually, I found 2 dealers that had them on the wall. The one dealer had 4 copies, 3 of which were just fine. And every one of them had a little bit of a tick on there. So I knew they never grade out to a 9.8. Potentials at 9.6. I kind of had to go through them and see. He had all 4 of his books $200 a piece. And I'm going, okay, maybe I can get a few dollars off because there is a little bit, some defects on there. But his 4th copy, and it was the same price, and it was actually the best copy he had, was signed by George Perez. Now, there was no COA or anything like that, but his signature is pretty recognizable. And I'm like, do I do it? I don't know. So I had found one at another stand, and I ended up not. I kind of set on those, and I figured at the end of the day, I'm going to go back. I'll take a look. If they're still there, they're still there, and I'm going to get one. I'm going to go back and get that George Perez one, and I'll get that for my PC. And go back. Not only did he sell the signed one, he sold the other 3. So I immediately went back to the other dealer, and he had sold that one too. And I'm like, okay, it's a signed. And it was at near the end of the day on that Sunday, and I ended up, that's it. I pulled the plug. Let's go. I told my wife, okay, we're gone. That's it. We're done. So it's something that's been lingering in the back of my mind since then, and I just happened to be perusing on eBay, and I ended up finding a not very nice copy here. Hang on a second. I hadn't taken it out of the original bag, so he's got some stickers that are still stuck on the front, but I found a copy, and it's already signed here. And they didn't have it labeled as a George Perez signed book, but that looked pretty recognizable. So I went ahead and I'm taking a gamble on this. It is in really nice shape. And I've taken it out. The back looks really clean. There are no, well, I take it back. I think there was one, I take it back. This is really clean. I mean, it's got some spine creases, but those should all be able to come out. Now, I have to be very careful because we obviously have a signature on here. I cannot be aggressive with the moisture that I usually apply to books like this, in a case like this. So I've got to be really careful, and I'm going to get this. I'll clean it up, and we'll end up sending this in to CBCS at some point because obviously it's already pre-signed. But I was really stoked about this right here. This is a really, really nice copy. These corners are sharp, so I'm excited about that. And it was just funny. I was just kind of perusing things, and I ended up getting it from Canada, but the shipping was everything was pretty reasonable, and got it in here pretty fast, so it's going to go in the shop pretty soon. Okay, I think that was it from eBay. So I picked up a couple things from WhatNot over the last few weeks, and this is a book and I've talked about WhatNot before. I think you need to find dealers on there that you can trust, that you can go to and you can expect a certain grade, because it is so hard to see the quality of a comic. They'll take a comic like this, and they'll hold it up to the camera, and they'll go up and down the spines, and it's pretty quick. And sometimes they'll do the back side. And if they're worth anything, they will also talk about the spine tick. They see a big spine tick right there, they'll mention it. They'll say, and they'll be as honest as possible. But even that, it's really tough. So I'm trying to find dealers on WhatNot that I can go back to and have a little bit of trust value to. And that's what I'm starting to do with a small handful. And some of these, the prices can get a little higher. What I'm finding is if they don't have a huge audience on WhatNot, they're not going to start their books too low, because then there won't be a lot of people there to bid up a book to the price it really should. And in some of them, if they have a lot of people, then, well, obviously you got a lot of people in there, so the price will still get bid up, probably, on a really good book. So I ended up going back to one of the ones. This is C. Fuller 97, And I picked up from him, the only book I picked up from one of his recent shows was Spider-Man 293. And he had an issue 294 as well. And I ended up picking this up for about $26, which is what you really, if you go to a con, that's what you should pay for a really good copy. And so I was happy about that. I won that one. But then 294 is the one I really want to get. I keep trying to find better copies of 294 because I've already got my 9/8 on this issue here. I've got that in my PC. I don't mind taking another shot at it because it's definitely worth it. And I'll talk about why I keep going back to these kind of books like this in a second and talk about these grades. This right here, well, 294, of course, is the other really good Craven cover. In fact, I think it's the most desirable Craven cover out of the 6 of Craven's Last Hunt. Mike Zeck artwork here. It is, I haven't been able to get a 9/8 on that. I've got plenty of 9/6s, but I haven't been able to break that barrier, so I keep looking for really good copies. And with Seafuller 97, I'm finding his condition of his books are really good. So 294 went up towards the end of his auction that day, and I was like, okay, if I can get the other copy, this one and that one, spend around that $50 to $60 mark for the two of them, I'll be happy with that. And all of a sudden, the bidding on 294 took off. I think it went for just over $50 by itself, and I'm going, that's outrageous. that's too much. God bless somebody who bought that for that much. And I'm sure the condition was really good, because if it was anything like this one, it was definitely a worthy comic book. It's just not for that much money. So I had to let that one go. I'll find another copy at some point. Maybe that will be one of my focuses when I go to Baltimore Comic Con here in October. It's really, that's going to be my #1 book I'm going to be looking for. And just because I've got this weird tick that I'm trying to get these 9/8 on certain series. I'm trying to get full 9/8 on the whole Craven's Last Hunt. I'm trying to get a 9/8 on Batman Year One. I'm one issue away. I'm trying to get a 9/8 on the full Dark Knight Returns. Again, issue #2. I'm sitting at a 9/6. I can't get that 9/8 yet. So yeah, I think I'm here live on camera. I'm literally telling you this is my mission statement for Baltimore Comic Con coming up this year. So anyway, so I picked that up. Let me talk to you about why, and I'll do this with the other books here as well. Why do I pick this up? $26. I've already got this. What did I say? I already have this. Why do I need another one? Well, it's because I buy books to keep, and I buy books to sell, and I spec on books, and this is how I spec on books. And I've got this. This is not the main Excel sheet that I work on, but this is the most current one. And what I'll do on a book like this, or any book, is I will go through and I will do the research. What is the most current fair market value if you're going to buy this book right there? If you wanted to go buy a 9.8 off of eBay right now, how much would it cost you? How much would a 9.6, 9.4, and so forth? Now, on books like this and some of the ones you're going to see here, I'm shooting for that 9.8 on every one of these. And I'm looking for those really good copies. There will be a couple books here that can go down a little bit. But so that's why I'll have, on this sheet, I'll have a column for 9.4, a spot for 9.6, 9.4, 9.8, 9.6, 9.4. And in a couple cases, if the books get a little bit older, I will go down to a 9.2, 9.0, and I'll put the prices on there. And I've got the formula set up in here, the macros set up in this Excel file, where I can literally go in there, and it's going to be hard. I'm not going to zoom in on this, but I'll just point it out so I can read it. Got the issue. This right here will tell me what's my potential. What is that price I just mentioned for buying that book right now off of eBay? Because that right there, if you were selling that book right now, that is the lowest price on eBay. And if you want to beat that price, if you listed your book and somebody wanted to buy from you, you probably would need to beat this price by a little bit. But I have the price for each of those grades, 9.8 through 9.4 in most cases. Then I have a spot for how much in general they pay for shipping, because I know how much I charge for shipping on eBay. And then I put a column for how much this costs me. And then I do how much my CGC cost and how much is my postage for my postage cost for shipping that book out. And then I get down to a potential profit. So let's just talk. We'll use this as an example. Not $293 right here. If I can pull a 9 to 8 off of this right now, if you wanted to buy this on eBay, this right here right now is $230. $230, and there's still shipping on top of that. But we're just going to go with the potential price. In the end, and shipping these are averages, so it can go up and down a little bit here and there. You got a potential of profit of something like this at a 9.8 of about $155. This is why I do this. I try to get that big grade. If it drops down to a 9.6, it's a big drop off. This is why I shoot for these 9.8s. And this is why I do pre-screens on certain ones, because maybe you don't want it dropping off that much. But at a 9.6, currently it is $93 on eBay. You can, if I sold that for that, you're literally talking about a $35 profit. And at that point, you're going down this hole of how much time you're spending for how much money you're making. So again, this is a book right here. It looks really good, and maybe this goes into a 9.8 pre-screen just to keep it safe. I don't need it dropping down to that 9.6. So that's kind of the formula here. So we got that one, and then also, it was a separate sale from the same seller, Seafuller 97. Now I probably paid too much for this. Now this is Thor 337. I ended up spending about $200 on this, and I did that because it's a trust issue with sellers, and I have started to develop this trust with this seller that the books that he's putting out this quality, based on him showing off the books and everything, that he's going to be able to pull out, like if there's a tick here that you can see, I mean, he's going to pull that out. He's not just going to take the book and run it up by the camera real fast so you don't see it. I don't see that happening. So he kind of pulls it out, and I've pulled off of books that I've wanted because they've got a tick that just, like, I can't buy that. It may still be a good value, but I'm shooting for these top grades on this, and I don't want to take chances because you do spend a lot of money. But I'm telling you, this right here has a really good shot at a 9.8 from what I could tell. I've opened it up, I've taken a look. It is a super clean copy. So I'm excited. Again, I'm excited. I say that every time. I'm excited about getting this book in here. Let me go down my list here. So for a 9.8 on Walt Simonson's Thor 337, right now, if you wanted to buy that on eBay, it is $450. So using this equation, this formula, if I wanted to sell this, now I don't have a 9.8 yet. I've got my 9.6. I got two 9.6s, one of them which is signed by Walt, which is for the PC. 9.8 would be great to have in a PC. I don't know. At this point, I probably would just go ahead and sell it because that 9.6 that's signed probably that would definitely mean more to me at this point. But if you're selling $450, the formula works out. It's about $165 in profit. At a 9.6, it drops down a lot, and you're not making a lot of money. So this is why I said that I overpaid on this based on the trust issue. Because right now, you can buy a 9.6 online for $279. And that leaves very little margin for any kind of profit if you're trying to sell this for that. And we're talking maybe about $16. I mean, it really drops off. If this drops down to a 9.4, you've overspent for this book and you're in the negative. So you might have to do it for your PC, but that's a lot of money to just throw into your PC. Okay, let's move on to the next book. The next couple of books, now these came from Heritage Auctions, and some of this is kind of for the PC, and some of it is definitely for resale, but I just don't know if these are going to be the ones that are going to be resold. Let's start with the one that I bought slabbed, and this is the book I've been trying to get into this grade right here. I've been looking for a 9.6 on this, and I've been looking for raws on this. This is XMen 113, the end of that Magneto storyline. I love the interior artwork on this. This is one of my favorite stories. The X-Men get divided, in the end, each group thinks the other is dead at this point, and John Byrne artwork, and I have been looking for a 9.6 on this, or trying to find a raw copy that I thought was worthy of working on and getting up. And I was looking on two different spots. I'd be looking on Heritage Auctions for raws, or this 9.6. 9.8s can get a little pricey. I'll go over prices in a second. Actually, do I even have it? Now, I take it back. I don't even have the price on here. So I can't go over values, because this right here, this is a PC purchase right now. If I had bought this raw, I would have put it into the formula, and I would have talked about the values and something like that. But I want to say I paid maybe about $200 on something like this. And I'm really working on this X-Men from mostly the John Byrne up to the end of his run with 143. I'm trying to get that entire run of his work, and a few of those in there were Dave Cochran too, I think. But starting with the first Byrne issue, and even some of the Cochran issues before that, I'm trying to work on this thing. So I guess I really should just include 94 all the way up. I'm trying to get, at the very least, a 9.6 collection on this. It's, for the most part, that's fairly reasonable. I mean, you can't buy them all at once, but it's a reasonable goal. And so I had a 9.2 in this as kind of a placeholder. That one I have to get sold at this point now. But the 9.6 was I thought was a really good value off of Heritage Auctions. So that is in the PC. I'm excited about that. And then I bought two raws on there, and I bought I want to say this was a near mint minus XMen 141. And now this I can give you values on. And when I say, the reason I have values on this, and you think, well, if you're doing that for your PC, that's great. Well, what happens if you get a 9.8 on this? Do I want to keep that in my PC? I don't know. A 9.8, if you could pull this, now this won't, because there is definitely a color breaking spine tick over there. It's a very light one, but it's still there. Something like this can over $1,000 for a 9.8 on something like this. But now these are prices off of eBay. You may be able to find the less expensive copy on Comic Link or Heritage Auctions or something, another source. But I'm just going strictly off eBay, which is one of my two selling platforms. And right now, a 9.8 is over $1,000. With what I paid on this, what did I pay on this? Oh, I have it down as I paid $10. So I obviously messed this up right here. But I'll just give you what the prices are for this. I want to say I paid about $180 on something like this. I don't have that in front of me, but what I'll give you here is I'll give you the grades and what the selling price right now is off of eBay. 9.8s, $1,090, but then it really drops off that 9.6 down to $300, 9.4 $270, 9.2 $220, and a 9.0 in $210. The reason I have those on here is because this is right here. As I said, I don't think it's a 9.8, but it could hit one of those other. I think it's definitely going to fit into that 9.0 range, and I just kind of want to know what the prices are. And I apologize, I don't have the exact prices for your potential profit on something like if you sold it. 9.8, I most likely would have to sell it. It's just worth too much. 9.6 or something, I'd feel comfortable with having it in my PC completely at that point. And then I did the same thing on issue 109. So first time I've ever owned this issue. I have been looking. This has been a soft search for me for the last 6 months. I don't know why. I think it was because I was focusing on some of the the higher number X-Men, and I hadn't got down to the lower John Byrne X-Men until probably in the last 4 to 6 months. And finally found this on, I've been finding it, it's always been over that $200 mark, and I just didn't feel, I don't know why. In person, you should feel comfortable in person being able to pull the trigger. You've got the book in your hand. You can take it, have the dealer take it out. You can look at it. And I ended up getting this from Heritage Auctions. And what did I pay? I paid $192 for this. And they had it listed as basically a near mint minus as well. And It will not reach that 9.8. There was a little tick over here, but the corners, all 4 of these corners are really sharp. This is a really nice copy. And I think that on Heritage, you can find some really good deals, especially on Raws, that you can get for under market at this point. Hang on, monitor's going to sleep. There we go. So this is a case where I have a little bit of faith in Heritage Auctions. So I went ahead and bought this. Again, I'm excited about getting this into the press. It looks really good. I'm excited about that. Let's go over potential in this. Now, as I said, this is the only copy of this one I have, so, but it sort of still works the same as that 141. If you could pull a 9.8 on this, I'd have to sell this. I mean, and a 9.8 on a book like this, it's $3,100 right now. If you wanted to buy that today off of eBay, it drops down a lot after that, but it's still super valuable. So I'd still have to question things, but and then I'll just give you the prices. 920 on 9.6, 550, 9.4, 350, 9.2, 300 for a 9.0. And maybe what I should do is I should give you some of the profit margins on something like this. You know, if you pay $192 on this, and let's just say we pull a 9.0 on this, and you could sell it for 300. I mean, if you sold it at that point, it'd be a $50 profit. I mean, obviously, I'd just hold on to it at that point. At a 9.2, at a $350, you're talking about $95. At a 9.4, then you're starting to talk about that, like, if you wanted to sell this for money, obviously, you're talking about $269. And then even at a 9.6, it's a $920 book. You're talking about almost a $600 profit off of something like this if you were to resell it. So I'm not answering the question of whether I am selling this. I'm not answering the question of whether I'm keeping it. I'm telling you this is part of my formula. It is a mix of selling and collecting. So you guys take what you want from this and you figure out what you want to take from this. What do you want out of this hobby? I do a lot of this, and so I need to sell a lot of books to kind of keep this going. I can't afford this just straight up, but if I sell certain books, I can buy books like this, make the hobby pay for itself, as you hear from just about every other channel. But anyway, I'm looking, I think that's it. Yeah, so that's it for today. This is the haul. This talks about the methodology that I go through, and it gives you some of the price and the numbers that I go through when I'm looking at books like this. Hopefully you guys can take some of this information for yourselves, and maybe it will help you in your collecting endeavors. You never know. But reach out. Tell me, what are you buying, and are you buying for the PC? Are you buying for resale? Are you doing both? I'm always curious. So reach out. Let me leave a comment. Hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, I would encourage you to subscribe. We're almost at that 500 subscriber mark, so I thank everybody who's already subscribed. And let's just keep that train rolling. I keep looking forward to making this channel bigger and bigger every day. So thank you for your support. I'll talk to you later. Take care.